Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima. If you told me when I was picking up a Vita in EB Games about 7 years ago that one of the games I would eventually end up playing on it was Night Trap, I would have told you to get the hell out of the store. And yet, here we are. This is the 25th anniversary edition. This came out like last year on a bunch of other platforms, and then it got announced for a limited games run on Vita. Limited run games run on Vita, I should say. And that version came out, got shipped to people, and other than some people saying there was some massive technical problems, it was okay. Except the massive technical problems don't really make it okay, but unfortunately those do appear to have been carried over to this version, which is the main reason I'm not going to recommend it. With that said, though, we're actually going to go and play it for a bit. Now, notably, I haven't actually finished it because this game's kind of split into two halves. One half is just where it's slowly ramping up, and then the second half turns into just a completely linear set of traps that you need to trigger within a split second, otherwise the game just ends. It does let you continue from the second half once you hit that point, but yeah, even then I was having a bit of trouble just keeping up with it. But before we do that, we're going to wander around first, because there's actually a fair few extras in here, and you can see already that the game's kind of got some problems with the frame rate. It's not great, if I'm being honest, but nevertheless. So this is the control scheme, but you do also get a couple of neat options. Now, notably, you can actually change the room icons. Normally, they're just like flat pictures, but in the remastered version, they actually let you use like little blurred icons that actually tell you whether or not something's going on in that scene, which is actually a really nice feature because it lets you go and just see what's going on in every room without having to actually go and look there. And considering the main gameplay of this game, yeah, you kind of want that. You do also have 4 different layouts to choose from. There's not that much difference between 93 and 94. The 92 and 2017 are also pretty different, but they all give you basically the same stuff, so basically just pick whichever one you want. Notably, it does also change the aspect ratio of the video, but, well, that's honestly not that big a deal. Honestly, if you care about that sort of thing, play on the 2017 or the 1992 version, because that's the original resolution it was filmed in, and these two here are just widescreen if you prefer it that way. We're going to stick with the 2017 layout. We do also have a couple of extra modes. There is the Survivor mode, which is a little bit bizarre, but actually a neat little addition to the game. It's literally just, you know, play the game as you normally would, but there's no story beats. There's just dudes running around. You gotta try and last as long as possible. And then you also have a bunch of other extras, and these are included in the basement, which is a bit of a weird name for your extra menu, but then, you know, I suppose that has something to do with the game. And you can watch a bunch of things, however, most of this stuff is actually locked off until you beat the game. Like, get both endings and scene of the crime. Production images doesn't actually have anything unlocked until you have a... Oh. I actually unlocked a couple of it. That's kind of neat. Well, that's kind of neat. That they just have, like, little... There's just little things going on there, which is cool. They give you just a little bit of behind-the-scenes stuff in the game. The most interesting thing here, though, is the scene of the crime prototype. This is actually something that showed up on the bloody Mattel Nemo, was it? A weird little multi-track VHS player that you could actually play the game on. Unfortunately, you don't actually unlock it until you beat the game perfectly, which is... Well, let me put it this way. Fuck no. So let's actually go and hop into the game. I do appreciate that all these extras are there, but... Well, let's just go into the game and see why it's kind of a pain in the ass. So they give you a little bit of an intro video. I'm going to let you watch it, because it gives you an idea of what the acting's like. I'll put it this way, it's not amazing. Also, it's kind of odd how they have the credits over the top of the actual video. It's not... I don't think it's encoded in the video itself. It's a little bizarre.
Oh no, there's no escape, my sweet little plum.
All right, Mike, I think we've seen enough of that. Wow, it's gotta be the strangest thing I've ever seen.
Hear that?
Just got this in last night.
All right, listen up. The students that have been coming up to work the resort on this side of the lake have been disappearing right and left.
Local authorities didn't have a clue until our surveillance teams tapped into the winery house right there and taped everything you just saw.
What about the cameras and the traps?
Probably security.
What?
We suspect they're using the winery house as a cover, and they're getting anyone who stumbles onto their scheme, whatever that is.
Mike. This is Kelly.
Kid.
Come on, isn't she a little young?
She's young. She's one of our best.
She'll also be working inside. And remember, no one goes in until we get the signal from her.
I want to know more about these traps.
Yeah.
That's one thing we've got going for us.
How's that?
One of our guys put an override on the camera cable unit here in the back hallway.
Which means?
Which means we have complete control of the cameras and the traps.
But who operates that?
They do.
And who's that?
Hello.
I'm not exactly certain. Special operators from Control. But we gotta work together on this one. Any questions?
Let's rock and roll.
Be careful out there, huh? And you keep your eyes open. We're all depending on you, especially Kelly. She should be there now. I'll switch you over. And good luck.
Alright, you're going to get to see more acting throughout the game. Also, there's a little teaser for you. But that's the basic gist of it. You might have noticed one thing, though. They kind of forgot to actually tell you how to play the game. Which is a problem, I've got to say. So, here's how you're supposed to play the game. You use the D-pad to move around, and the triangle or circle button, depending on what you feel like, to activate the traps. This is relatively easy to figure out. You can get this stuff down pat relatively quickly. But there is some more to it. So you might notice that there is a little blue rectangle there, just underneath the map of the house. This is the security code. Now, they don't tell you what the security code is or what relevance it has to the plot unless you get relatively lucky and stumble into the right scene at the right time. I didn't the first time, so I was thoroughly confused as to why I wasn't actually able to trap anyone anymore. You see, at predetermined points in the story, they change the security code. And unless you are in the specific room in order to actually hear the new security code, you aren't going to get the new security code. And you change it using the shoulder buttons. And there are multiple kinds, and they actually randomize it every time you play the game. So it always starts out as blue, but it can change to any other color once you start playing. And that is kind of unfortunate. Well, look at them all trying to sneak in. But yeah, the basic idea of the game is that you more or less have to trap all of these weird dudes running around. They're called augurs and they're basically vampires. And to do that, you just have to be at the right place at the right time and wait for that little indicator that's currently flashing slow green to turn hard flashing red. And once you hit the button, you will simply trap them. You can see that it also keeps track of how many possible captures you've had and how many you've actually followed through on.
Looks like a
There is something slightly annoying about this. It makes sense in context, but sometimes you can't capture dudes the first time they appear on screen, but the first time that they appear on screen is the first time that the counter actually goes up. So when you see this guy here, for example, I don't think I'll be able to capture him this time around. I have to wait for them to get off screen. So yeah, now they come to here, and I can activate the trap once this guy gets on the landing? No? Okay, now I can do it. See, that guy isn't supposed to be capturable yet for some reason. So I can capture those two, but the other dude is just out of sight and out of mind until he shows up in another area. And there are multiple dudes running around at the same time. Like, look, there's one here, which I can capture, and there's this one dude here who actually takes a pretty decent amount of time to actually get to where he can be captured. So you can actually miss another dude who is about to stroll right past the place where he can be captured. And you have to be constantly swapping back and forth between these areas in order to catch them. And that also means you'll actually be missing story beats, because as you can see, the game goes on without you. All 8 different places can have video going at any one time. It hasn't gotten that bad, but there are definitely like 3 or 4 places that you can watch at one time. And that can make things really difficult to keep track of. You are expected to go through this game multiple times. There is absolutely no way you can finish this game on one run through. You are not going to be that lucky. So these guys are going into the bathroom now. You can see that they've actually got a fair amount of consistency with the timeline though, which I appreciate. So you can track people from one room to another, and it does make perfect sense. It's just a little bit frustrating trying to make sure everybody's captured. It's also not helped out by certain technical glitches that are going on. You can see down the bottom there that it's flashing yellow, which means that there's an auger somewhere in the scene, except in this case it's not. It just bugs out sometimes and sticks, and I'm not entirely sure why it does that. So that guy just wanders right on out, and meanwhile you've got this guy here who's just come in the window, and he's very quick. Now, the auger pattern never actually changes. So if you're smart enough, you can actually remember every single auger that comes in and leaves. And there is actually a guide on Game FAQs that has the timing, well, I'm not going to say perfect. He does say it varies by a couple of seconds, but it is still more or less 100% accurate as to when you'll start seeing augers in specific places. So you gotta try and capture as many of these dudes as possible. But if you miss this scene right here,
now, Jeffrey, I want you to go downstairs.
It occurs to me that I don't have my sound on, so I can't actually hear what the code just changed to. Holy shit, I'm an idiot. Well, I'm gonna have to actually turn my sound up for this one because, whoops, I forgot about that entirely. No game currently in progress. Shit. Well, I'll be back once I can actually hear what the code is going to be, because god damn it, I am dumb.
Now, Jeffrey, I want you to go downstairs and change the trap access code from blue to orange.
Don't worry, Mom. It's all in the fingers.
Good hunting.
Alright, so now that we're actually back and I'm not a complete and utter dullard anymore for forgetting to have the sound on, because damn, that was impressively bad on my part. And yes, it takes a little bit of time for the code to change, so I just completely missed that guy. Fantastic. So, yes, the game does not hide anything from you. It is more than... It gives you absolutely everything you need to know. It just dumps all this information on you really harshly, as in you have like 4 or 5 different ways that any particular game can go, because you're just constantly looking at different parts of the house, looking for information, trying to dig into the story, or just trying to trap some augers, because again, there's a lot of them. By the 18-minute mark, which is about as far as I've made it, there's about 60? Thankfully, they do give you a couple of opportunities like here to catch your breath, but god damn, if you aren't paying attention, you might miss these bastards, for example. And sure, you're more than welcome to stick around and watch this, but The game's got multiple endings, including multiple bad ones. And there are also points in the game where people can actually be attacked by the augurs. And if you aren't on top of that shit, which mainly happens in the second half, but still, if you aren't on top of that shit, they are going to get their blood sucked right out of them, which was incredibly controversial back when this game first came out. And it is nowhere near even remotely as violent as you might expect. The whole violence against women thing gets thrown around a lot, but it really isn't. Like, for one, the boys get attacked just as much as the girls do. Like, there's a couple of kids running around, and they get the shit kicked out of them as well if you let them. In fact, most of the times I've died, it's been one of the kids, one of the guys getting their blood sucked out. It's unfortunate that this game gets remembered purely for the violence against women bullshit that they were pulling, but yeah. Of course, the actual acting itself is like trash 80s crap, but honestly, it's kind of... It has its own little charm to it, in all honesty. It's not that bad. Although these augurs acting like they're basically drunk children, more or less, makes things a little bit over the top for my personal taste, but still, it's still
Someone's taking control of the system.
Funny.
We'll see if you can get it fixed. If not, we'll have to do it the old-fashioned way.
I could take...
It's still funny and enjoyable in its own ridiculous way. I need to be in the living room, otherwise I'm going to miss the next code. I know this. Except there's so many augurs all over the damn place.
Looks exactly like Madeline.
Oh, not that again.
No.
Code. How about purple? Sure.
Purple. Okay. Because you're completely incapable of capturing people if you don't have the right code, so you need it. It's not something that you can... Shit, I missed the timing on that. It's not something that you can just guess. It is absolutely impossible to just guess. Damn it, the code hasn't changed yet. Now it's changed.
Oh, now this is my favorite bedroom.
Great.
The game itself is only actually 25 minutes long. It's kind of surprising, actually, just how short it is. I had to look up the guide to figure that one out. But it's true. And there are a fair few silly characters and just fun little things to discover as you're going through. Little chats that the characters have. Like, it's nothing amazing, not even close, but...
Oh, wow, you guys, this is the life. And what about Tony?
It's just a neat little concept, admittedly. Being able to watch every individual room of the house and just watch the characters just go about their night as these vampires just freaking swarm the place. Like, seriously, there are so many of these dudes. I don't know how the hell they managed to get so many people in the house without nobody noticing until the 12-minute mark.
Maybe you had seen me aboard.
Also, this happens. Hang on. Yeah, this guy's just been out captioned as being held in this house that they apparently know about. No, I don't know what the hell is going on here. I think I missed one outside.
Anything else, sir?
No. Anything is all right.
Oh yeah, and this guy's being attacked by them now. Oh no! Oh yeah, there it is.
Something is going on here.
I know.
I can feel it. Do that.
So, what would you like? Good.
Alright, might as well talk about some other stuff. So, Yeah, this guy literally just hides in the shower. That's a little bit of a weird way to go about your business, but whatever. Damn, I missed those dudes. Right. So here comes this guy. Alright, so what was it I was going to talk about? Right, technical issues. There's a bunch of them. The game audio is very likely to get out of sync the more you play. I've noticed that the longer that you play the game for, even if you like quit the game and come back, the more likely the audio is to fall out of sync. The video does have awful VSync tearing problems as well. As in, you'll just see lines across the screen at random times. It's not great.
You're right, they're here.
Yep, so yeah, they continue to attack her. Excuse me. And of course, there's
I'm not afraid of you.
more.
I'd like to know what's going on around here.
More going on over here. So yeah, now she knows, the secret agent knows that there's more than just the augurs. There are proper vampires running around too, because that's what the green eyes mean, I think.
Here they're after us.
But yeah, there are also a couple of other really bad bugs that happen from time to time.
The Augs are here.
I just need to listen to the code.
I'll go downstairs and reset the access code to green.
Oh, now what?
Guess what? That's not actually the code you need. They pull a fast one on you. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. It actually made it this time. That's good.
It's a good idea for you to be hanging around here.
That actually, I'm going to pause right here and just explain this bit because the game starts getting intense after this point and I'm going to need to focus as much as possible. But that mid-game load point, that can actually cause some problems, as in the game will just stop dead. There'll be nothing but static on all the screens. The timer will reset to 0000 and none of the buttons will work, so you won't actually be able to get out of the game. I've had that happen to me twice. And that's not great, as in the game literally just stops and you're just kind of screwed. Also, I think I just hit the checkpoint there, which is nice in case we do screw this up. But yeah, technical issues are not great. Also, I didn't get any warning whatsoever that it was time to set off the thing. That kind of sucks.
Why don't you go ahead? Jeff and I... Let's go down. You? Yeah. Seen Augs.
Gotcha.
I'd feel better if we switched the code again to purple. We don't want anyone else to get control.
Lucky me.
It is? Do you...
Oh, wait a minute. This is the laser gun scene. This is stupid, but I enjoy it, so I'm going to sit through it.
You just point and shoot.
The boat just disappeared. Like, it didn't even blow up the boat. It just disappeared the boat.
At least it doesn't...
Oh, yeah. More dudes. The technical problems just make the game a lot harder to play, mainly because you're never entirely sure if the game's going to fall apart on you or not. And it kind of sucks because I'm actually enjoying it. Now, it does turn out to be, in the end, it just turns out to be one massive memory test, especially towards the second half, where the augurs are just constantly swarming and you need to protect everyone in a very specific order. And if you don't remember that order, you're going to have a very rough time trying to get through the game. But if you can deal with that, it's actually not that bad. Mainly because it's a neat concept. Going back and forth between all the screens to not only trap the augurs, but to listen to the story. Also, that's not actually an augur, that's a guy dressed up as one. But yeah, going through all of the individual rooms and trying to trap as many of the dudes as possible. Also, yes, the military is keeping an eye on things. They're not completely useless. Right, I need to be here. Because if I'm not, this kid will get abducted by the augurs, and I do want to actually make the attempt to save him. See, look, it went red there, so you need to be ready to throw out the trap. If you're not, he's done. And this happens more than once. The instant death just happens more than once, and you really do need to be careful. But yeah, as you can see, they are outright swarming the place now. Thankfully, the code doesn't change again, so I can just take my headphones off, but yeah. I can understand why most people wouldn't actually like the game, purely because of the memory test. Like, that's the one major problem with the game. The fact that it's just one gigantic, if you don't remember this, you're done, you're dead. Which is unfortunate. With that said, though,
Can they help us? Yes, they can, but
it's cheesy enough, the gameplay mechanic is an interesting enough idea, and I just missed one in the top left one there. It's a cool idea gameplay-wise. They follow through on it, and it's not completely inconsistent with its own internal logic, especially with the timing of things like traps and such. And it's surprisingly enjoyable in the long run. Where are they going now? They're going into the, It's going red again, but there's no actual dudes running around.
I'm talking to control. There's a camera right there. I think they're coming.
So look, there's a guy running around here, and I have to trap him. Now I have to pop back here. And yes, you have to do this in order to get a perfect game, so you need to know the game inside and out. If you don't like that, all power to you. You probably shouldn't be playing this one, but hang on, I need to be on the staircase for this one. Also, one of the things you can do, you can actually trap the girls if you get the timing wrong, which is an interesting concept. They will throw you... You will get thrown for a loop on this one. So yeah, they got her. I'm not entirely sure... Oh no, yeah, she does escape.
We're trapped. One chance.
After this point, I'm not entirely sure where to... Oh no, I think he scares them away.
We just have to trust that they are making it home.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You don't know.
Surprise! Let's not watch the rest of that. I need to see if I can actually, Oh yeah, this is another one of the parts where you have to... Like, if I hit the trap right now... There we go. Got the timing right. If I hit the trap when she was over it, I would have failed instantly.
Way to go, Control. I knew you could do it.
Thanks for the... I don't understand those ones. I could have sworn that I got the timing right on that one, but yeah.
Tony, this is all insane.
I tried to warn you, but you wouldn't listen.
Listen to...
No, apparently I can't capture that one.
Now you will pay.
Tony, I don't understand. This is crazy.
There are Augs all over the place.
That's Kelly. They wouldn't stand in my way. Would.
But I'll take care of that. Stand back.
Control! How could you let this happen to me?
So the vampire's got the special agent chick, and she is gone. That's not great. Well,
Now we're back in control.
How exciting.
Come, darling. Let's get the controller. I'll switch everyone back to this camera. Hello. I hope you've been having fun. Now it's our turn. Pity you won't be here for the rest of the show.
Bye.
well, that was bizarre. I'm not entirely sure how I'm supposed to work my way around that, but... Well, that was a look at the 25th anniversary edition of Night Trap, I apologize. It's a neat concept, and it actually works really well. They do keep the timeline consistent between the rooms, and considering that the game is an entirely linear set of events that outside of the actual codes doesn't actually change. As long as you know the time to get the codes and you're on the right spot, you can get the codes. Again, it turns out to be a memory test, and that's probably going to be the main reason why I don't actually go back and finish it, or maybe just find a 100% Let's Play on YouTube. But there are things like multiple endings, a bunch of unique unlockables to get, and it is just a neat game in general. Like, it's better than something else that you might cite for simply being a controversial game and not much else. Like, I'm reminded of Hatred and what was that other one? Replay. Yes, that terrible, terrible game that I've actually played. But this is actually a decent game. Unfortunately, this version of it isn't great thanks to the technical issues that it has. Everything from the videos taking a little bit too long to swap sometimes, to the weird VSync issues, to the game literally crashing with a surprising amount of frequency at the halfway point. So I can't recommend you play this one until they finish them, but if they do, until they finish them, if they fix them, but if they do, honestly, it's not that bad. It's cheesy enough to be enjoyable, while also being, you know, a decent gameplay idea by itself. And, well, honestly, when people say Night Trap is a bad game, I just find it hard to agree with them now. I've actually played it for myself now. I can say that no, Night Trap isn't a bad game. It was a decent game. It actually would have been pretty neat to play at the time. So, you know, I guess if they win me over, that's one thing, but winning the rest of the gaming community over is another. But yeah, if they fix the bugs, it's probably worth the time, and it's only like $10. So if the concept intrigues you, then you're more than welcome to go and pick it up. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.